Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Average Joe, the series where I'll be taking a look at a vehicle and telling you whether or not I believe it's worth the average player's time or money. In this episode we're going to be covering the Maus, a rank 5 7.7 German heavy tank. Now I do want to start off this video by saying that I'm not going to be covering it like how I've done my other reviews. I'm not going to be really looking at the vehicle at a serious light because in my opinion you shouldn't take the Maus very seriously to begin with. Also, because of how similar it is, basically everything that I'm going to say in this video will also apply to the E100 because I'm likely never going to be able to cover that vehicle, so just keep that in mind. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let's start talking about the vehicle itself. Now, I want to start off by talking about the weapons because that's the only part of the vehicle that I genuinely like. So we're going to actually go in the reverse order of what I normally do. I normally start with the highest caliber and work our way down, but in this case, I'm actually going to start with the 7.92 machine gun. This thing is basically useless. You can forget it exists. However, please do not forget about the 75mm cannon that you have. Now, the 75 is technically a secondary weapon, so you should bind a separate key to use it, otherwise you're going to end up firing both guns at the same time, and you don't want to do that because the 75 is basically utility. You can load smoke rounds to try and blind your enemies, you can use the heat round to try and break barrels or tracks. Personally, what I use it for, though, is overpressuring small vehicles. However, I cannot overstate how effective it is as a utility tool because of the fact that it has such a quick reload. Then we move on to the main armament, the 128mm cannon. This thing is incredible. I do not recommend bringing the top round for it because yes, it has the highest amount of pen at over 300. However, if you're going to use this round, you only have about the same amount of explosive filler as a long 88 found on, say, the Tiger 2. Where if you use just the next round down that doesn't have much less pen, all of a sudden, you have more explosive filler than most HE rounds. Which you're gonna see a lot in the background footage, that if I go through the armor of a vehicle with the 128mm gun, I usually don't kill them because I knocked out all the crew or I hit the ammo. I usually killed them because I overpressured them just because of how much explosive filler is in this round. Now, the downsides of this gun are also pretty noticeable, however. One, it is like the main thing people are gonna shoot, so you're probably gonna lose it quite often. It's not very easy to get on target because of the turret traverse being some of the worst in the entire game, and it's also got one of the longer reloads in the German tech tree with a stock reload of like 23.66 seconds or something. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's just a very, very long reload, so you gotta make your shots count, which is even harder to do because the dispersion on this gun is absurdly high. But I cannot deny the fact that in my opinion it is the most satisfying gun to use in all of War Thunder. It's just absurdly funny to me to watch this shell go through someone's armor and not even like have to care where you hit them. Just knowing that it's gonna overpressure them no matter what. It's so funny to me. Moving on to mobility, there really is not that much to say. You are one of the slowest vehicles in the game. You can't really steer unless you're in neutral. You really can't move. Not really much to say. You're slow. I don't know, go on a diet. Now, next on the list is survivability. Now, depending on who you are and who you ask, this is either going to be the best part of the Maus or one of the worst. And in my opinion, the Maus's survivability is really funny, but not very good. Now, the reason why the Maus's survivability is pretty bad is because the fact that in a full up tier, you basically don't have armor anyway. Darts can go through your armor in almost any scenario, with the exception being your front plate, really, and even then they can just aim for your turret cheek, which that's the other main problem. The turret cheek of the Maus is super easy to go through, and if you do, you're probably gonna breach the thing. If not, you're probably gonna kill the gunner. If either of those things happen, that gives you plenty of time to disable the tracks or shoot out the barrel, and then all of a sudden the Maus is a sitting duck. There's nothing it can do. It can't retreat. So, you're basically dead. I mean, you have smoke grenades, but they're not going to be that useful because the whole gimmick behind smoke grenades is you try to pop them and then get behind cover. You can't get behind cover in the Maus if you are the cover. In contrast, however, if you are in a full down tier, you may as well be Superman because you are bulletproof. There is really only one location that people are going to be able to pen you in a full down tier, and that is your turret cheeks. So, if you've played World of Tanks, you already know what to do. Angle. That's all you gotta do. Just angle the turret, and all of a sudden, you're unkillable. So with all that out of the way, I do want to talk about how you get the mouse, because getting the mouse is not as straightforward as any other tech tree vehicle. The mouse used to be part of the German tech tree at one point alongside a bunch of other vehicles, but then they were removed for historical inaccuracy and other reasons. So now, the only time that the mouse actually becomes available is during the War Thunder Anniversary event, which as of my recording is currently ongoing. If you have rank 5 German ground available for research, you will be able to research the mouse at any point during the event. And if you put any amount of XP into researching the mouse, even if you don't finish it before the event ends, you can go back and finish it whenever you'd like. So if you don't want the vehicle now, but you might want it later and you're not sure, just play like a game while researching it, or put like 1 Golden Eagle's worth of free XP into it, and then come back and do it later if you actually do want it. Now, I do want to state that I don't think you should actually get the mouse for actual gameplay purposes, because in my opinion, it's not a good vehicle. Please ignore the fact that I got a nuke in the background footage with it. It's not a good vehicle. It is extremely fun to play, and it's really funny, but it's not a good vehicle. With all that out of the way, let's talk about if I think it's worth your time or your money. Well, honestly, it kinda depends. Do I think it's worth spending Golden Eagles on? Probably not. It's not that, good of a vehicle, but it's the closest thing that a lot of us are gonna get to playing the E100. However, it's only 120,000 XP, so, in my opinion, it is worth spending a few hours to get it, or even, like I said, just putting, like, 1 little bit of XP into it and then coming back and doing it later whenever you have some free time. If you're a collector like me, it's a great pickup, and it's really funny to play occasionally, but if you're wanting it for an actual 7.7 lineup, you probably don't need it. With that out of the way, I'd just like to thank you all for watching. Please let me know in the comments if there's any vehicles you'd like to see in the future of the series, especially during the duration of the sale, any premium pack vehicles maybe. But I'll see y'all in the next video. Have a good one.